Practice, what, we got 15 today? 16. 16, I guess it's been a long time since you guys have been here. I think the last time I left you with Tayseer information, and then since then, I think we had a scrimmage Saturday, productive. For the most part, stayed pretty healthy, tackled well, threw the ball pretty good. Wish we'd have run a little bit better. But our defense is pretty stout. And then we had a nice practice at Heinz Field, I guess Sunday night, right after the Steeler Fest, and got some great work in there. Kids were obviously energetic anytime you get in Heinz Field, which is not easy. It's a great atmosphere to play the game of football, and our kids, need to be in that atmosphere. So, questions?
Kind of position battles might have crystallized themselves either Saturday in the scrimmage or once you actually get them on the field they're going to play on Saturdays?
It's a good question. I'd say we're probably a couple of days away from really making that decision. We'll be working on Albany today, so there'll be some of those where guys are looking around like, who's on maybe we call the Rocks a scout team, but that's not a for sure thing. We're going to see special teams are still major part. We got a lot of that done at Heinz Field. We've worked every facet, and Kessman's been whacking the heck out of the ball. Golly, knock on wood, that guy's hitting 82% of his field goals right now. One of his 82% was a 58-yarder that he decided to kick on his own in a team period. Gave him it, where do you want it? He put it at 58 yards. I don't know if I told you guys. Did I tell you guys that before? But it bounced off the upright and almost went in. It would have been good for about 64. Where was I?
We might have been there for that, actually.
Yeah.
Were we there for that last week?
Yeah, you might have been there. Yeah, you might have been there. That might have been. Yeah, like you were. You were always there for that. But position battles were still a ways away. If you ask me an individual battle, I can kind of tell you, maybe give you a little insight on that. But to go through the whole depth chart, I know Jerry probably would go through.
I was about to say who's first.
Who's first? Is our position? I'll give you if there's anything. Like I can tell you one position battle. We got 4, 5, 6 good corners right now, and they're still battling. And it's probably going to be the guy that's most consistent. I would say right now, if I had named the corner, is Felipe Motley. He's playing his tails off, and we talk about to win a championship, your seniors got to play the best football they ever have. Number 32 is doing that right now. He is playing his tails off, making plays, and I'm happy for him and excited for that group. But the rest of those guys are they're pegging away. There's some Paris Ford's done a great job. DeMar Mathis. There's Pinnock. There's some good players there, and it's like, God, you only get to play 2. We're not in Canada yet, so. But other position battles. There's a battle everywhere.
Well, I guess the big question is, how did Tayseer look, this weekend after the news Friday?
Okay, next question.
Did he get injured or something?
No, he didn't get injured. He did not get injured this weekend, I can tell you that. You guys.
You feel pretty, when you talk about position battles, you feel like your 5 up front on your offensive line you feel like you've got your 5 pretty much identified?
Yeah, I think we've got them identified. Where we want to be? No. Every day it's a battle, but no, I feel comfortable, very comfortable, and I want to run the ball better. I think they're doing a great job protecting Kenny in the pocket. That would probably be my first fear. Then as a head coach, you look at it and you go, D-line wise, Coach Partridge said it to me the other day after practice, like, I've never had this many guys up front that can play. That's a good thing for Pitt football, okay? Is it a fair evaluation? He was at Wisconsin for a long time, had some good players up there. Our depth is good. So it's hard to read where you are, even with the run game, because again, I know we're going to stop the run anyway. We're built to stop it, and then when you're built structurally, and then all of a sudden, you got guys up front that can play it too. It helps you.
How many young guys do you think are going to be contributors on special teams, whether it's gunner, cover, those phases?
It's still hard to tell on that, to be honest with you. It starts with, who can help you on offense or defense, and then we'll go from there. But there's going to be guys that you trust enough, and it comes down to trust in special teams. They're good athletes, okay? But it's you've got to be that trust factor for Coach Powell to be able to put him on the field and trust that he's going to do the right thing. Because again, just like any other phase of the game, it's not about how good you are athletically. It's about how smart you are, how much knowledge you have, and if you're doing the right things there as far as just fitting into what we do schematically.
We had talked about position battles earlier, Pat. Where are spots where you guys feel like the depth chart is pretty solidified, where you guys have a guy who's a starter, where that's even with a week until your first game?
Well, Kenny Pickett is the starting quarterback. If you guys didn't know, we don't have to make some big quarterback announcement. He's the quarterback of our offense. And then I'd say, on defense, Quentin Virginis he's clearly the guy, and it's not because those guys behind him are doing bad. I mean, you go all the way to Wendell Davis. Wendell is playing really good. And it's like he's one of those guys on special teams that you go, we're going to get 4 games out of Wendell this year. If he redshirts, again, I say that if because I don't know yet. But, Wendell's a guy that is, he pays attention to the details. Just one of those guys. I mean, his dad played, and his dad must have got after him when he was younger. He understands the game of football, which is always beautiful when you have someone that grew up in the game and be a heck of a coach someday. Just for freshmen not to hit the wall, and he's pretty locked in. But Quentin is a quarterback, and it's easy to say he's the guy. I mean, Dwayne Hendricks had an excellent camp. And we just got to keep that rolling. I mean, those are some guys offensively. I mean, the tailbacks are by committee. We got a lot of good guys back there. Those are the ones you go, pencil those guys in for, Saturday, September 1st. You're going to see those guys out there. I gave you 3.
I was going to ask about the tailbacks, actually. It's kind of a unique situation since they've been both here for so long. They've done it so much. I mean, do you go into September 1st saying we want one guy who's going to get the first 5, 6, 7 series, or is it just kind of known that they're going to be a two-headed monster, so to speak?
I think it's going to be a two-headed monster, but just like anybody, I mean, you have good days and bad days, and to me, those 2 are both starters. AJ's, he's crawling up, up the depth chart as well, and you kind of go, man, we got to get AJ some looks too, because he does things differently than the other 2 guys do. But I think it's really who's got the hot hand, and you kind of got to do it that way. Like who's feeling good, who had a better week of practice. I mean, that's kind of the carrot that you lay out there for who's going to get their name on the scoreboard. But after that, it's who's making the plays, and who's playing like their tail's on fire. And that's what we want a tailback to run through the smoke, and not care what's there. And that's the guy that's playing hungry and running with a chip on his shoulder. Is the guy I want to carry the rock.
Do you expect the wide receiver position to be pretty similar in that regard?
Yeah, it is. It really is. I mean, I think we've got a lot of weapons out there. I think more weapons, overall than we've had. And obviously Tayseer will add to that arsenal, I guess. But we've got guys out there that can do a lot of things, a lot of great things. And so it will be. But there'll be some guys that are going to have their name called, over the loudspeaker. I think everybody wants to be that guy.
Pat, you mentioned Hendricks. What in particular stood out about him?
The consistency. I think, just with the way he's practiced, I can't say he's had a bad day. And and I can't say that about every player. And again, Rashad Weaver too. Now, I mean, he hasn't played. He hadn't had a bad day either, really. So you might throw him in. There's 4 I gave you now. I mean, he's played darn good. But both those guys, and again, I'm probably missing somebody else. I mean, but it's a consistency of how they play and go about their business every day.
Coach, we're about to start a walkthrough.
Okay.
Jerry asked me to ask you this.
For Jerry? Now, you had baloney.
No, I
almost forgot
can
about
show you the
that.
text
Okay,
message.
good. Okay, Jerry.
When you were down at Hines, you had a picture. It looked like Ryan Shazier was down there. Did you have him give speak to the team a little bit?
No. He, they, obviously the Steelers were there before us, but no, I didn't have him talk to the team. I just said hello to him and his wife.